Well, now let's get some more insights into the UN SDG Goal 16, which focuses on peace and justice. And we're now being joined by Mr. Ojonimi Ape, who's a legal practitioner, to see how Nigeria is faring on this regard. In this regard. Now, when you look at some of the statistics that my colleague there, Shola Shirley, reeled out, 148 out of 163 in the Global Peace Index, and no African country made the top 60 in the Rule of Law Index. What are the challenges preventing us from moving up in these rankings?
I think basically one of the challenges is that we are not being sincere. We're not being sincere, we're not being honest. And you know, Nigeria is a place where a lot of people will promote deception in this country. Instead of addressing the main issue, the critical issue, we just fool ourselves.
What are the critical issues?
The critical issues, like in my own understanding, is that we need to address the issue of education. Yeah, because if people are educated, people know their right, people know what is good for them, people know you ought to do this, you ought to do that, people will do better. Because if there's no education, people are not enlightened. Illiteracy, like I've told myself today, illiteracy has caused a lot of issues to us in Nigeria. Because if you go to the north, you come to the south, issues of violence, issues of insecurity, issues of corruption boils down to illiteracy. Until we address this issue of illiteracy, because
illiteracy on whose part? The people who commit corruption, are they always illiterate?
No, we need to tackle this issue from one aspect to the other aspect. You know, when you talk about crime, you look at it from the foundation, the basics. What led to this crime? We talk about unemployment, we talk about greed, we talk about a lot of social vice. Now, but when you talk about tackling these issues, achieving these NDG goals, in fact, you need to ask yourself, how many Nigerians know about these goals? Do we know about them? We don't even know about them. If you can't go to Kano or go to my village in Ofantogo and tell them about these goals. They don't know anything about it.
Yeah, but for those at the top who know about the goals and who know that we need to build strong institutions, yes. Do you think that we're doing enough in that regard to cascade things down?
They are not doing anything.
In your profession, what would you say is the major challenge? I heard one of the respondents there talking about the fact that politics has diluted the judicial system. Would you agree with him?
To an extent, I agree with him. To an extent, again, I believe that as a judicial officer or as a legal practitioner, the first thing is that you need to see yourself as a minister in the temple of justice. Until you see yourself in that light. And as a minister, you know that you must uphold the rule of law. And until you see yourself in that light, you become gullible to politicians.
Are lawyers seeing themselves in that light?
For me, I don't know, but for me, I know I've seen myself in that light. I see myself as a minister in the temple of justice, so I must uphold the rule of law.
With the recent cases that we have seen, especially with the one that came yesterday and the strong statement passed by Supreme Court justices, would you say that lawyers are seeing themselves in that light?
If you look at it from that, what you say yesterday,
yes.
It boils down to personal view. It boils down to personal opinion. It boils down to what you see as being right, what you see as being wrong.
Well, let us talk about peace and violent conflicts that the country has faced. Now, a lot of people are talking about the rights of IDPs. Would you say that a number of people who have been displaced, are being protected? Are we looking at their rights at all, or are we leaving them as people who live as if they have no rights?
Like our government are not being sincere in this fight against. We should have tackled this issue before they get to this place. If we have tackled the issue of insecurity, there's no way we would have gotten to this place. We need to have put things in place to checkmate the violence that led to them coming to this extent. And until we address those issues, we'll keep having more IDPs in Nigeria. We'll keep having them. If you kill Boko Haram with guns and this thing, it doesn't kill their ideas. Boko Haram is an idea. It's an ideology sold to these people. They have this idea, and it takes education to eradicate this idea from them. Now, the IDPs, we've seen a lot of news, a lot of people come around, they are doing a lot of sponsors, a lot of charity, but they're not being sincere.
What kind of institutions would you be looking at strengthening in those areas to uphold the rights of people who have been displaced by conflict?
We need social justice. It's social justice. Until we address this issue, we will not make headway.
Well, we have to thank you for coming on the news at 10 tonight. Mr. Ojonimi Ape is a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on the news at 10.